Thank you so much for tuning in to watch UBC News Tonight on UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. A very good evening and welcome to UBC News Tonight. My name is Sharon Chondeshe, coming to you live from the Now Avenue in our top stories of today. Coming up, Uganda and Serbia agree to strengthen trade and agricultural ties. Kabaka Mutebi marks 30 years on the throne. Still to come, NRM unsure abolishing or improving party primaries. And more stories. Muyinga residents demand for a clear statement from KCCA when it comes to land wrangles. Today, President Yoweri Museveni has expressed admiration for the Republic of Serbia's unwavering cooperation, stating that the relations between the two countries have stood the test of time. He made these remarks during a joint press briefing with his Serbian counterpart, President Alexander, at the Presidential Palace in Belgrade.
Upon arrival at the Serbian Presidential Palace, President Museveni inspected a guard of honor mounted by officers from the Serbian forces before going in for closed-door bilateral meetings with his host. A photo exhibition in honor of President Museveni comprising of archives of Yugoslavia was also on display. Before addressing the joint press conference, Presidents Museveni and Vučić witnessed the signing of memorandums of understanding in the areas of agriculture and trade, signifying a commitment to deepen cooperation between the two nations.
Of the Republic of Uganda in cooperation of agricultural technologies will be signed by the following: the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Water,
Addressing the joint press conference, President Museveni highlighted the long-standing working relations between Uganda and Serbia, which trace back to the 1950s.
We have had very useful discussions, and as I told you, Serbia, through Yugoslavia, is not new to us. In the 1950s, 1960s, we had very good relations with Yugoslavia under Marshal Tito. And I told you how we used to follow the stand of Marshal Tito during that time, especially the neutral position he kept between the quarrel between the Soviet Union and China. That time they were all socialists, they were all communists, but they had disagreements. But Marshal Tito refused to take sides and remained neutral, and we admired him for that. Our elders, like Mwalimu Nyerere, the president of Tanzania at that time, who was our senior person, appreciated him so much. Marshal Tito, together with Nkrumah and with Nasser of Egypt and with Sukarno of Indonesia, were the champions of the non-aligned movement. I told you how I welcomed Elbrad Kardej at the University of Dar es Salaam as one of my guests.
On his part, President Vučić pledged total support and cooperation, assuring President Museveni of implementation of the signed memorandums of understanding, solidifying their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties.
And let me tell you, in 2050, Uganda will have more than 100 million inhabitants. Today, Uganda has more than 40 million. People who cannot follow this quick growth in Africa Uganda in 2050 will be one of the youngest countries in the whole world. Huge potentials. And we will talk at the Business Forum about it, what is very important for us. Mr. Museveni, President Museveni, respects private property a lot. He knows that you cannot have successful economy if the state owes everything. That's very important for our investors.
Samuel Senono and Wycliffe Mudachi for UBC TV News.
Thank you so much, Samuel Senono and Wycliffe Mudachi. In more stories, a UPDF Air Force helicopter has made a crash landing while conducting operations in Lobotuk sub-county, and according to the press release from UPDF, all the 4 occupants are safe. Meanwhile, residents of Lobotuk and Katikekire sub-counties in Marato district want security forces to deploy in the area following the UPDF soldier who was killed in 2 guns stolen by suspected Karamajong warriors at Chokolias in Katikekire sub-county, Marato district. We're so sorry about that, but we're going to update you about the story in Marato and what the UPDF had to say about it. Thankfully, the occupants of the helicopter are safe. Now, President Museveni has officially opened the Uganda Connect trade hub in Belgrade, Serbia's capital, as part of Uganda's strategic plan to enhance her presence in the Balkans region. The trade hub is designed to serve as a vital platform for promoting and marketing Ugandan products, including coffee, bananas, chocolate, grains, and tourism, with the ultimate goal of bolstering export revenue. President Museveni also praised the efforts of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, who have been leading this transformative initiative. Take a look.
Mr. President, many people stopped by, asked us when are we opening, and we waited for you to come here to be the first one. So it's a great history of your leadership with many world leaders here. And here is the history of non-aligned movement and your meetings with African leaders.
The one when I make voice off.
Yeah. Flowers.
Vucic for hosting me today, together with my delegation, and also the business people who came from Uganda and the ones from Serbia. There is some amount of drinking of coffee in Serbia, and in this part of the world, Russia and other places. So we want to promote our coffee to come here processed. They have agreed to buy processed coffee. There was an issue of tax on the processed coffee. I raised it with His Excellency, the President, and he is going to look into that. Nga olukuru wawogo naba abemwanyi naba maliba nabe matoke Dr. Muranga mwana mwebale wakati nekubo elyawonolinza kutuusa n'awalala. Balkans, ateni bakwatagana ne Russia, Uganda bagogana olulimi lufaanagana, ateni bakwatagana n'ensi ezaali mu Soviet Union za Kazakhstan ezo, ate balina enkolagana n'Abawarabu n'Abayitali eri Roma kigenda kutuyamba. Olwekyo omukisa guno tumusuba omukisa guno kubanga emmwanyi ezirongoseddwa kiro tujjamu $40. Emmwanyi ez'empeke ziri ku $2.5. Katumulaba okufiirwa okuli awo lwe lutalo lwendukwero.
Two truly big leaders, President Vučić and President Museveni. I have that honor to visit Entebbe and Kampala 2 months ago and call President Museveni to visit Belgrade to see how deep are our connections. We have a long history of good relationships between our two countries. I really respect President Museveni, and I'm glad that all your delegation can see that today. Of course, we need to transfer that good political relations on economical field. We have to make our trade connections deeper, to boost our economies.
Buy our products, so this biscuit can be sold here, and the farmer who is in Imbarara, the farmer who is in Ntungamo, the farmer who is in Imbali is paid. And this is how the world develops. This is how countries develop. For example, many of us eat bread in Uganda, but we don't even know that the wheat comes from Europe. So this is what we want, that also Europe can eat our products without even knowing. Many people have never seen a wheat plant, but they eat chapati, they eat chikomando, they eat Rolex. We also want people from all over the world to eat our products, and this is how you get paid better, but also you have sustainable market when we have industrialized our products.
Moving on from that, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Anita Netamong, has emphasised the importance of students preparing for their future and utilising the opportunities that come their way. Now, she urged them to value education as a stepping stone towards a successful future. This was in a speech delivered for her by the Member of Parliament, Gombe West Robinara Kojo, at Wengure Primary School in Wengure Parish, Kagonji Sub-County, Kashari North and Mbara District.
The Minister for Internal Affairs, Major General Kahinda Otafire, has cautioned voters against overburdening members of Parliament with community demands, highlighting the impact it has on their legislative responsibilities.
Maybe mwantura tina baraganise akakali majanguti kulvasa ni baragasi chikujaranta kumanyambi mutumbasa kwekorera.
This was at a fundraising ceremony organized by Margaret Ayebare Rwebyambu for Buwengure Primary School in Buwengure Parish, Chigongi Sub-County, Kashari North, Mbarara District.
To raise money, almost 400 million, for the construction of 4 classrooms. I have called the government because I wrote my concept a long time ago to Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and my concern was we thank the government for the increase of universities. For example, now we have 10 universities which are public, and there are 2 more coming, that is the Usoga University and Munyoro University.
Mbarara District Woman Member of Parliament Margaret Ayebare explained that due to limited funds, the schools lack a number of facilities.
As leaders, we are going to support like the way I have supported this school. But when it comes, for example, to buying uniforms, it is a duty of a parent. When it comes to packing food for the children to go to school, it's not the duty of the Member of Parliament. It goes back and falls back to the parent. So I want us to know that we are all stakeholders. Let's do what is in our dockets. We've done our part as leaders, and I request parents to do their part. But also, this is also a message to pupils to also do their part.
The Lady Councillor of Rubaya Sub-County, Loida Trinomujuni, praised the efforts of parents in mobilizing funds to support the education sector in the district.
Trying to raise money which can renovate the buildings, the school buildings. I see this school is it is under, I think it was founded by the church, the Church of Uganda, and then it is aided by the government, which means the government puts in a lot to ensure that this school continues, goes ahead, and educating many children in Mbarara, mainly in Kagonji.
The Member of Parliament, Gomba West Robina Rakojo, represented the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Anet Among, who contributed 20 million shillings during the fundraising. Over 60 million shillings was realized during the event that attracted a number of dignitaries.
In more news, a Pentecostal church pastor, Christopher Mchibi, has expressed admiration for the King's unwavering devotion to God, evident in his inclusive support for different faiths, bringing joy to believers. The service, graced by the presence of Buganda's Katikkiro Charles Peter Mayiga, was a celebration of the King's reign and his commitment to spirituality.
The born-again community, along with other religious leaders, united to pray for the King's continued prosperity and grace, marking the 30th anniversary of his coronation on the ancestral. Amidst the spiritual ambience, the fifth part of the Buganda anthem was sung, earnestly seeking divine protection for the King as he continues to rule with wisdom. Lutalo Paul applauded the church's central role in championing the cause of Buganda and its people.
Buganda bonna bubuganye essanyu kubanga kabaka waffe Ronald Muwenda Mutebi owokubiri agenda kuweza emyaka 3 ng'atudde ku Namulondo y'abajjajjaabe. Kino kiviira ddala eri Katonda era olwaleero tuzze mu maaso ge okumwebaza, okuwangaaza baffe n'okumusaba okumwongera emyaka mingi asobole okutukulembera mu ngeri gyatukulembeddemu emyaka gino yonna.
Pastor Christopher Mchibi conveyed heartfelt gratitude to the King for his profound love for God and the sincerity with which he approaches prayers, exemplified in his embrace of diverse religious communities.
Abadde musaali nnyo mu kussaamu ekitiibwa essaala naddala eziva mu balokole nga Fulatanteero. Twebaza nnyo Ssaabasajja Kabaka okussa ekitiibwa okutya Katonda. Bakabaka mu byawandiikibwa tebasinganyaawo olwo aba atya Mukama.
The King's active engagement with the born-again churches in the country was also acknowledged, with Pastor Mchibi lauding the King's support in ensuring their church remains at the forefront among other churches. Ahmed Matov Maganda's representation of the Katikkiro conveyed deep appreciation to the church for its focus on empowering the youth and fostering a spirit of productivity.
Atukulembedde mu nsonga ez'okwekulaakulanya, ez'ebyobulamu, ez'ebyenjigiriza ne mu mbeera zaffe ez'obuntu. Chuchu atukulembedde ng'atulaga okukola obutaweera, okwagalana n'okuba obumu mu byonna bye tukola.
The prayer service exemplified unity, faith and appreciation for a King who has endured himself to his people through his commitment to God and promoting harmonious coexistence among various religious communities. Sodat Kaye, UBC News.
Residents of Nyarusiza sub-county in Kisoro district have put off a wildfire that broke out in Muhinga National Park, situated on the border between Uganda and Rwanda next to near Mountain Muhabura. The incident raised concerns as fires in protected areas can have devastating effects on the environment and wildlife.
The chairperson Nyarusiza sub-county in Kisoro district, Sabimana Erasmus, has successfully led a team of Arena residents to put off a fire that had threatened to engulf Gahinga National Park.
Kuna baye ndi mu rugo nagiye kubona mbone ishamba rirahiye. Ishamba rihiye ngerageza guterera abacamani LC1 kugira ngo batabare. Turatabara. Tugezeyo dusanga ryahiye. Turi n'abaturage n'abasirikare. Ishamba turarizimya.
Sabimana and team fought off the fire that could have been set up by a marijuana-consuming individual.
The place is far away, so many people are saying that they are rebels because of even those shoes that were found up there. So they think that they are rebels who do pass there in that forest, because that forest is not a market where you can find that people are passing. Of course, they are rebels, and the other thing why they think that they are rebels, no Ugandan soldier can burn the forest because they know its importance.
The swift response of the residents drew praise from the chairperson Kisoro District Abel Bizimana, who acknowledged the significance of Gahinga National Park.
What I can ask from the government, this thing has been happening several times. This is not the first time. People going there. There is a time when it happened when it was late night. People went there, but government as tourism, which has funds, they do not even give people a thanksgiving to them. In short, maybe if they can give them something which can maybe give them morale when that next time when it catches fire they run there.
He commended the efforts of the residents and expressed gratitude to the Uganda People's Defense Forces for their role in providing security in the areas surrounding the park. UWA officials have initiated an investigation into the cause of the fire. Abiola Francisco, UBC News.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has pledged to compensate more than 500 people who were displaced from Buikwe district during the 1981-1986 coup. In a statement to Attorney General Chidiwa Chwanka, the president said that the victims should be compensated with over 58 billion Ugandan shillings, just like about to witness in this report.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has pledged to compensate those who were displaced from Buikwe district. They were mainly supporters of the then ruling party by then, the Uganda People's Congress, Japadola, Gisu, Bagwere, and other ethnic groups who ran for exile between 1981 to 1986 during the country's war that overthrew the UPC government. President Museveni made the pledge basing on the two letters written by Nankabirwa Harriet Chimyanso, who is currently the coordinator of the Mzee Tovaku main program in Buikwe district on behalf of the people in 2013 and 2014 seeking for compensation and the restoration of their damaged property. The president has sent the letter to the Attorney General and 58 billion shillings is expected to be used for this compensation. Nakabirwa assured the people that the president cannot fail to fulfill his promise.
Bagenze bakukuma atenga n'abali ku bibanja nga tebakyasobola kubivaako, so kati president ayambye abantu ba mirundi ebiri, ayambye bannabuyikwe abaatwala ebibanja byabo abaagobebwa, ate era n'ayamba nabano abaagobebwa okulaba nga bo basobola okufuna okuliyirirwa.
We spoke to some of these people and they shared the challenges they faced during those times of exile and the situation they are living in today.
Bangamba mbonsigula abantu ebulute mbaze tolosina wembazika owudde kati bana abafa batwala nembanyigiriza muzeita jajaja
oyagala ofuna akasente ogulawo
ngulira abaana munange wuno ngenda amanyi gampe
tuli mu bupoloti naye kirabika Katonda kati yesaawa yaffe essaawa eno okutujjulula mu nnaku yaffe gye tukaabya amaziga mangi emyaka 40.
Odoy John Bosco says for years
they have been complaining but have not been answered, however, thanked the government and President Museveni for the initiative.
We have our ancestors, we buried them there, but those people who grabbed the land, they destroyed all the 85, 86 there, I remember. We were displaced by the war, and then none of us was allowed to take any document or carry anything.
Apostle Grace Lubega of Phaneroo Ministries has achieved a remarkable feat by leading his congregation of more than 2,000 people to break the Guinness World Record for the longest continuous clapping session in a historic event at the Ulma's showgrounds dedicated to Jesus. The astonishing achievement marks Uganda's second Guinness World Record. Take a look.
The extraordinary event began at 3:48 p.m. and lasted an impressive 3 hours and 16 minutes, surpassing the previous record of 2 hours and 15 minutes. Participants engaged in a spirited clapping at varying intensities throughout the duration of the record-breaking event. To ensure the authenticity of the record, observers from the Uganda National Bureau of Standards and the Federation of Uganda Basketball Associations closely monitored the proceedings. Attendance was strictly regulated, with only those who registered through online links granted entry into the multipurpose hall. The overflow of attendees was accommodated in designated areas.
Clapping for Jesus, the Phaneroo International Ministries congregation is breaking the record, setting the new mark at 3 hours and 16 minutes.
The main requirement was that the sound of the applause had to remain above 80 decibels and be the only sound generated throughout the event. Astonishingly, the loudest decibels reached an ear-splitting 93.5, while the lowest was measured at 83.6 decibels. Apostle Grace Lubega and his congregation were unwavering in their determination, clapping non-stop for the entire duration of the record-breaking event. Remarkably, even when participants required refreshments, they signaled by raising their hands while continuing to clap, and volunteers provided them with drinks to sustain their energy. The momentous occasion was not confined to Uganda alone. Numerous other manifest centers across Uganda, as well as countries like South Africa, Kenya, and the United Kingdom, joined in the Clap for Jesus Guinness World Record attempt. These centers are affiliated with Phaneroo Ministries International, and their support added to the significance of the global Thanksgiving campaign. As Phaneroo Ministries International celebrates its 9th anniversary this August, the Guinness World Record achievement stands as a testament to their dedication and unwavering faith under the guidance of Apostle Grace Lubega.
Whatever we can do for the glory of God, we shall want. We wanted to make sure that it would be so hard for the next person to set the record. That's why we set it at 3 hours and 16 minutes.
Does this have something to do with John 3:16?
Yes. Everything has to do with John 3:16, because I always tell people, like I said, YouTube is a secular platform, but we use it to preach the gospel. Facebook is a secular platform, but we use it to preach the gospel. Guinness Book of Records is a secular platform, but we can use that as well to preach the gospel. Because like I said, if somebody's reading through that and they see that the longest applause is in the name of Jesus, maybe somebody's convicted to find out who or why.
I celebrated Clap for Jesus because I have a lot of testimonies that I have that I couldn't go somewhere and testify about. I was thanking God for His goodness and greatness in my life. I was thanking God for my marriage. I was thanking God for my children. I was thanking God for the woman I have become. It has only been the grace of God, and that is why I was clapping for Him.
Phaneroo has transformed many young men, both on the streets, both the rich kids that are wasted on drugs. Phaneroo has transformed all young men, also me myself.
Apostle Grace Lubega and Phaneroo Ministries International have marked their names in history, setting an inspiring example for believers around the world. Wadulo Mark Arnold, UBC News in Kampala.
Well, I guess I won't be clapping for 3 hours and 15 minutes, but congratulations. Thank you, Vanero, for another Guinness World Record broken in Uganda. Moving on from that, the Minister for Kampala Affairs, Hajat Mensa Kabanda, has pledged support to projects associated with adolescent girls and women. The program is funded by PIFA and the Infectious Disease Institute. Now, during the event held in Kawempe, the participants showcased the skills that they had acquired throughout the program.
The government reaffirmed its commitment to sensitizing Ugandans about HIV infections, with a particular focus on adolescents who are more vulnerable and exposed to HIV prevalence. Health statistics indicate that adolescent girls and young women aged between 10 to 24 are at higher risk of contracting HIV, AIDS and other infections, often driven to the streets to work as sex workers due to economic challenges. Kampala Affairs Minister Mensa Kabanda commended its stakeholders behind the skilling initiative and stressed the importance of addressing other infectious diseases as well.
We should only do such activities to assist the young people. We should always train these people on the job so that they can achieve what they can learn. This has been put up, but as we're talking about this HIV, because HIV is rampant, but we should also talk about other infectious diseases like gonorrhea, syphilis, cancer, and so on and so on. Hepatitis B, all those are sexually transmitted diseases. Not only preventing early pregnancy, not only preventing HIV, but we should also talk about those other diseases.
The Executive Director of the Infectious Diseases Institute at Makerere University, Dr. Andrew Kambugu, expressed his worry about the risk of HIV/AIDS infections among teenagers.
The number of new infections has reduced by more than 50% since 2004. But what is worrying is that girls aged between 15 and 19 or 15 and 24 are still the group that has the highest number of new infections. And so projects like DREAMS seek to empower young women so that they can have the ability, so that they can reduce the vulnerability to HIV and AIDS.
The DREAMS program and the Infectious Disease Institute have joined forces to address these pertinent issues through community sensitization and empowerment initiatives.
A program that has over 90,000 beneficiaries, and these are girls and young women. You can see that they are given different types of skills. This translates in them being able to have some income and therefore possibly able to say no to pressures from older men usually.
Some of the beneficiaries who had previously engaged in sex work to make a living shared their stories of transformation after acquiring skills in tailoring, hairdressing and liquid soap making.
Era kati kyenkola DREAMS kyangamba okozesa eddagala okozesa PrEP bwanga n'omusajja kungenda n'emirembe kale ate mbeetagisa ki nga nnaka business kange buli kimu nga
kiti abantu bagamba balekerawo kwetunda bajje bakole emirimu
era balekerawo buli aliyo ng'okimanyi nti weetunda abamu tebakikola nga baagala olw'embeera naye mulekeraawo mujje mukole zakasente kafune mujje ku DREAMS mukole babasomese kuba tebasomesa babikono byokka bakubuulira emitendera nga ffe abaana
osasula sente
betuyitamu sisasula.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC.
Residents of Alptong district have appealed to the office of the DPP and the judiciary to intervene in the rampant atrocities, torture and demolition of their churches by people who claim ownership of the land. Now this comes after attacks on them, thus threatening their livelihood.
Lango sub-region community members recently petitioned the High Court, complaining about the evictions from their land and demolition of their places of worship by court bailiffs.
I mean, the judgment was passed without us even coming for the court. We have not been heard. We want the court to hear us also from later.
However, they were informed by the chief registrar that their case file had been transferred to civil division, a move they deliberately queried, as the Lira court can ably hear their case since the witnesses live in Lira.
But we were surprised to hear that our file has been taken to Kampala, and yet the matter is a land matter, and this property, or the said land, are in Lango sub-region.
A month later, a group of 5 representing others from Aleptong district is seeking for interventions from concerned authorities over the monotonous attacks, arrests and kidnaps on them over land matters.
Sending my humble appeal to the DPP to intervene in the torture that the PAG members are putting on us, the Christians. DPP should come in and prevail upon the resident state attorneys who are sitting with the DPC, especially this one of Lira, with the belief to write their own statements against our Christians.
Since the President of the Republic of Uganda, because Lango sub-region is undergoing a lot of suffering, especially the born-again Christians. We have over 1,000 independent churches.
Ronald Ogwal, who appeared with bruises on his head, is lucky to have survived the attacks, to which they say is a mock to their community members.
These people, they come to our churches when we are praying. They come and beat us in our churches, arrest our members in our churches, and take them to police and detain them for a longer period of time.
The group stressed on the imprisonment of their colleagues on flimsy allegations, accusing court bailiffs of being behind all of these frames.
The ruling of Justice Sekana did not go on the ground to verify the true ownership of this land and the building thereof, and thereafter there's a court order being given, and the court bailiff in the name of Rauka Boniface is busy moving around and doing eviction, arrests.
Maurice Obua demanded that their case file be returned to Lira, as they don't have resources to regularly travel to the High Court in Kampala.
That is our land and our churches. We cannot come up to civil court division, and yet we have High Court Lira, which is competent, with a competent judge to handle this matter. Our file should go back to Lira.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices and gets a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
Uganda's oil and gas projects are providing opportunities for Ugandan businesses. Between 2017 and 2022, 40% of the 3,800 procurements worth $4.4 billion were awarded to 460 Ugandan companies. This includes 41 community-based companies that have been awarded contracts worth $2.3 million. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, entities must register on the National Suppliers Database. Over 2,300 entities are registered on the National Suppliers Database. Registration is free. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Upgrade your lifestyle with the all-new entry-loaded Chillax voice bundles.
Now, call all networks in Uganda with Chillax voice bundles. Call all networks. No expiry, no worries. Dial *100 *1# and select call all networks. Airtel, a reason to imagine. The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000 and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781 885 055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UBC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates Pakaku ground. Sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. We continue with our business stories, where a new restaurant is making waves in Kira, and it's all about savoring the rich flavors of organic traditional foods. Asaf Ndikwera, the chairperson of African Restaurants Organization, says that the restaurant's mission is to revive and celebrate the region's authentic culinary heritage, offering an array of dishes cooked with organic and local sourced ingredients.
The bustling town of Chira, near Kampala, witnessed a memorable culinary event as Triple D opened its doors to the eager public. The restaurant's mission is to revive and celebrate the region's authentic culinary heritage, offering an array of dishes cooked with organic and locally sourced ingredients.
We want to create a culture where people can appreciate their kind of their kind of basically cuisine. And every market, every society has its own has its own flavors.
Triple D stands for delicious, diverse and distinctive, three pillars that define their approach to traditional cuisine. The manager, Triple D, Ayebale Prudence, has poured her heart into the venture, aiming to provide a delightful experience to everyone who steps foot into their establishment.
The future plans, we are looking at even having other branches, not around Chira only, but in different districts, different areas, so that our services can always reach at any person at any convenient time.
The ambience of the restaurant is a perfect blend of rustic charm and modern comfort. The warm earthy tones and traditional decor create a welcoming space that instantly transports dinners to a bygone era. From mouth-watering luombo, a traditional Ugandan stew, to hearty matoke, served with tender grilled meat, there is something for every palate. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Moving on from that, National Coffee Research Institute, located in Mukono district, is encouraging farmers to embrace coffee value addition in order for them to earn more money, but also for the country to fetch more in the international market. The Director, National Coffee Research Institute, Dr. Geoffrey Adinaitwe, is initiating operating coffee value addition boost.
Coffee, one of Uganda's traditional cash crops, is still held in high esteem because it contributes a lot in farmers' incomes per capita and the country's foreign exchange. It is for this reason that hundreds of farmers embraced the coffee farm clinic held at Mukono Coffee Research Institute in Mukono district to gain more knowledge in coffee farming and management.
The question, coffee is a beverage, so it have to have a taste. So when you are trying to produce it, you are make sure that what I am producing or what the farmer is producing, is it of the quality which is marketable or which is acceptable to the world market or to the community in which I am dealing with. Because with the coffee, if you are not careful with the quality, you may lose the market internationally. Because the people who buy coffee, the first thing they do is to have the cup taste. Then the rest follow. But unfortunately, many of our farmers are after the yields and the bean size.
It is here that the Director, National Coffee Research Institute, Nakori, Dr. Geoffrey Arinaitwe, shared his plans on the Operation Coffee Value Addition Boost.
I call it Operation CVAB. This Operation Coffee Value Addition Boost. Under this operation, we have soldiers who can communicate quite well, like General Kriaje. We are bringing on board the UPDF general in charge of farms and production, and we are bringing the Operation Wealth Creation team to help us liaise with the agencies to increase their efficiency in terms of delivering services that support coffee research. This operation will motivate research scientists to have more products in value addition, will motivate farmers to have more coffee produced in terms of quality, to have more quality beans available for export.
The Director Policy and Planning at Operation Wealth Creation, Sarah Kataike, offset the day's activities, representing the Chief Coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation, General Salim Saleh. Kataike called for collaboration among all stakeholders to provide farmers with information on agriculture.
So we appeal that in order to be efficient, the link between extension and narrow must be very close. They have to be always to consult with research and be able to give the right information to the farmers.
Senior Research Officer at National Coffee Research Institute, Dr. Godfrey Seremba, urged farmers to learn the technique of intercropping coffee with other crops like bananas using recommended agronomic practices.
Coffee is not a selfish crop. It accommodates other crops. And in the spirit of sustainability and in the realities of what's happening in farmers' fields and what's happening on the issues of land being non-expansive. Farmers have limited land, so we've had to advocate for issues of crops that advocate for cash and also for food. So we can plant bananas in the coffee plantations, but correctly. We can modify. Normally, if it was pure standoff banana, we would plant at 3 meters by 3 meters. But if we are growing these bananas in a coffee plantation, and the main business is coffee, but we want also food. So we then put these bananas in this coffee plantation, but at an enlarged spacing, at spacing which is 6 meters by 6 meters, or 20 feet by 20 feet.
Government is promoting the growing of coffee and value addition because it has the potential to contribute to National Development Plan 3 and Vision 2040. Adia Nakute, UBC.
Refugees living in Uganda have been warned against succumbing to propaganda regarding their welfare in comparison with other refugee hosting countries. This follows recent trekking of some Congolese refugees into the neighboring Kenya, citing welfare conditions, only to demand return to Uganda, a process currently ongoing. Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Engineer Hilary Unek, advises refugees in Uganda whose countries of origin have embraced peace to return home.
This is a 4-page document dated 26 July 2023. It is authored by Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Engineer Hilary Unek. It highlights how the Ugandan government was notified by UNHCR Kenya in May 2023 about refugees with Ugandan documents camped at a place called Kitale. the office of the Prime Minister swung into action. A joint meeting was held with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. The main agenda was to have these refugees readmitted back into Uganda.
So we received back about over 1,500, and others who are still living in Kakuma also want to come back to Uganda, and so on. And we are not closing our door, our gate, let them come.
In the missive, it is also highlighted that Kenyan officials expressed concern over overstretched facilities at Kitale, and that since the refugees were from Uganda, Kenya could not admit them, and hence the need to evacuate them back to Uganda. But why did they opt to cross from Uganda, their original recipient, to neighboring Kenya?
These refugees were deceived that the conditions are better in Kenya for refugees than in Uganda, that they get more food there, they are looked after better in Kenya. Somehow that propaganda penetrated our refugee settlements, particularly in the western area of Chaka.
So far, over 1,500 refugees have been received back to Uganda, and the doors are still open for others. Going forward, here is an appeal to those refugees whose countries have embraced peace.
There are limitations as to how much UN can give them. And as government, we don't have more than just the security we give them and the space that we allow them to live in. So if they have challenges, the best thing they would rather go back to, they should go back to their countries. And those from Congo, you see, the Congo situation is different because the government there has failed to control the insurgency which is ongoing there. So those have to live and wait until their country become peaceful.
They have sought asylum, lived and worked in Uganda, and as well connected with Ugandans. All this has been attributed to Uganda's refugee open door policy and the generosity of Ugandans. These, however, should not be taken for granted.
We don't want to and from movement. Either they go back and settle in their country, and then those who are not able to go back stay put and not just trot between the two countries like this, because they create us other challenges as well.
Uganda is currently home to over 1.5 million refugees from South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda and Burundi, among other countries. Henry Okrut, UBC.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their data voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say. Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles? So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. The reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Welcome back to our last segment of UBC News Tonight. Today in our sports stories, Ugandan won its second game of the ongoing Netball World Cup in South Africa to qualify to the next round. The She Cranes defeated Trinidad and Tobago 73-33 in a one-sided game to send out warning to its rivals. Now, victory comes after triumph against Singapore before losing to defending champions New Zealand. Uganda started shaky in the first quarter of the game before resorting to the physical game that yielded results. Irene Ayari was voted a most valuable player in this particular game with her confidence and skill with the ball. Thank you so much for watching UBC News Tonight. My name is Sharon Chomdish. Have a lovely night, a blessed new week, and keep doing the best that you can do. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster.